Okay, so this is episode 2, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about biases and LLMs and just see where that takes me. If you haven't already, actually go to msty.app, misty.app, and join our Discord server. There's always interesting conversations going on, people posing interesting questions, interesting conundrums, and that's really what's kind of sparking me talking about biases today. Is that there was some chatter about biases for DeepSeek and other models, and it's just a great place to have good conversation. And Misty is about really all models, right? We're bringing it all in so you can make use of the best models that are available. And so this may may actually put me down a tangent. So it just put my mind right on this new feature that we're working on in Studio called Turnstiles, where essentially you could create this chain of events, and for each one of these events, each one of these actions, leverage a particular model. So think about how models today have their strengths in some area. Like everyone, is talking about Claude and Gemini 2.5 Pro for code, and Chat GPT. What beats that for writing stories? So just think of this: like ChatGPT is taking an output from Claude and then just progressing it through these chain of events. And I know I'm not explaining it too well. I need to create a video on this, but it's just really cool being able to leverage the best of each AI within a single application. But anyways, yes, that's gonna get me down a tangent. Let me bring it back to biases. So I think it makes sense that there are biases in models. It it's a, it's a variety of different things, right? It's who's making it, what it's being trained on, any kind of government or compliance bodies that it needs to follow. So of course, something from China like DeepSeek is going to be different than something like Claude's, Anthropic's Claude in the U.S. And interestingly, too, Anthropic, I think maybe a month ago, they silently removed a bunch of their biases programs that they were working on, which I think people kind of tie into maybe the change of the president in the United States from Biden to Trump. Um, and also, I don't know if they were maybe seeing a lot of value in that initiative that they were doing internally, but they were focused on kind of weeding out biases for a while. And even thinking of Salesforce, like a big part of their platform, a big part of their training, actually, if you ever do any of their AI training certifications, is really trying to root out biases and kind of just foster a fair, equitable type environment. All not necessarily bad things, but it just makes you think about, still, like there's still biases in different ways, different shapes, different forms within each model. And I think that is going to be interesting because, as someone brought up, like as the younger generation, like my kids, for instance, my oldest kid is just getting more into AI because that's what I'm showing them. So it's partly my fault, but like talking to the Grok app on the iPhone, or if we're doing some research for some school projects, going to ChatGPT and doing deep research, or Grok 3 deeper research, or all these different things to learn more about the subject, to learn more about the activity that he's doing. And when you interface with AI, you're getting like very specific results back. Yeah, I mean, some of the responses might be a little wordy, maybe some more concise, but you're almost taking it as this authority of sorts. But we know that AI is very prone to hallucinations. It's very obvious when we see that in image generation, but it's a little less obvious when we see it within the text responses because, well, what do we know? I mean, this thing is trained on the internet. But it's just like giving you back a response. It could be a completely wrong response, but it's kind of looking like it's this authoritative answer. this authoritative response. And I think that's where we get in trouble. If we interface an AI or with AI in that particular manner, then like who's to say the correctness? Like, I mean, you'd have to like do additional research for that. And then also, what are the biases? And then also, what is that training our own minds? If we're kind of just getting these types of results back, in is there some kind of subtle bias in there that we're probably not even picking up on, but is there? The undertones of it are there. And I again, it's certainly true, but what impact is that going to have on us moving forward? It's hard to say. But I think what this is leading me to now is thinking about the responses, thinking about this kind of inherent biases, thinking about how we are going to continue to leverage AI for our personal needs. It kind of makes me think of, well, as Google search is being phased out and we rely more on what it is that we're getting from AI as a response from either, verbal communication or text chat or what have you. Um, like, what are the quality of those results? Because I know whenever I ask something, let's say like what restaurant should I try around the area that I live, it might give me three results. Well, I guess that kind of stinks for all the other restaurants in my area where the results weren't returned. If you're not one of those three. So then the question kind of then becomes, well, what is the SEO equivalent for this? So we see that there's this bias, we see that there's these short answers, we see all these things, and then you kind of wonder, like, as maybe a business, how do you tap into that if AI is only going to provide a few results? How does a local business, like a local restaurant, leverage how AI works right now to be able to be one of those three results? And I think a lot of it probably is just the standard SEO practices that we have right now. But another one is interesting too. There's this LLMs.txt file. So if you go to llmstxt.org, they're talking about this new standardized, I guess, way to let a LLM know about your website, and if your website's your business, your restaurant, it'll allow LLMs to better kind of index and understand your website. And I think that's going to help with this equivalent of SEO, this ability to show up in the results. Of course, everyone's going to start doing that, but I think if you want to get ahead of the game, then that's probably something to look at. I mean, right now it's all a proposed standardization, but like if this catches on, might as well be ahead of the curve on it and start showing up in the results now. And that way you could have your business LLMs biased towards your business. So I guess that's the tie-in with the whole LLM bias is, hey, if you want to leverage that now, check out llms.txt or LLMs, jeez, sorry, llmstxt.org. I'll just add a link to the bottom of this, but uh, give that a look, try that out, see if that helps. Um, and again, like we're going into very interesting times, certainly biases in every which way, but I think for a lot of people, especially a lot of businesses, it's going to be, well, how do we how do we get LLMs biased towards us so that we favorably show up in their search results? And I think that's one way to do it. I don't know how to assist with all the other things, all the other maybe social, geopolitical negatives of the biases, but in the very least, if you're a business, there's a potential solution for you. All right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this quick little podcast. And until next time.